support a bigger police force in the death penalty for a smaller government. This is because I believe that the government's role is to enforce their law through monopolistic force. And more police funding gives the police more power to enforce their laws upon their citizens and gives them more control. This isn't smaller government; it's inherently bigger government, and that
I would
and,
part.
um
The more funding they get, the more control they have, quote unquote. More funding means more armor, more vehicles, better, more ammo. Like, it's not, the more money they get, it's not going to the police officers themselves. They get paid a horrible wage. $40,000 a year to do that job is ridiculous.
Okay, we can all right. My first contention is that so you believe that government the spending that goes towards police goes towards utilities such as cop cars, weapons, just simple police utility, correct?
Yes.
Okay, since they have better and more of this utility, how don't they have more power? Because more updated technology, and they can expand this because also police funding also goes into going into making more police facilities and expanding the distance that these facilities can reach because they can fund more cop cars and etc. So since they have more of this, how don't they have more power? I don't.
Do you mean power like they have control over civilians?
I wouldn't say control, but
Or
they well,
by have more stuff to be able to do their job?
I mean, I don't believe. Well, police most of the time I believe that a police in a ideal society with the government's existence. I'm just gonna argue from the standpoint that I'm a classical liberal or a minarchist.
Okay.
So
Liberals. Like Dave.
no, not a classical liberal, not like a modern liberal.
Are you anything like Dave Rubin? He's my favorite.
No, I'm just
like
right,
Ludwig von Mises,
like Mises. I would say
classical liberal.
just classical liberalism. I'll just put it as a minimal government state's only roles to protect individual liberties, and the state has no other authority. Okay. I were to say that the police, since the police has more funding, this funding goes to more utility, which they often just have better utility. They can have more power over the region, or just because they just have more funding towards these things. It's a pretty simple concept. More funding also goes to hiring more officers, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, so since they have since they can expand their facilities through these utility, and since hence hiring more officers, how don't they have more control of enforcing law and bigger government authority over their area?
Because they have a limit to what they can do. When you become a cop, there's a set boundary, and it doesn't matter how much more funding they get. It doesn't matter how many more cops they hire. You took a pledge to do a certain job, and you have stances. That's why they can't go and kill people. And if they murder people, they go to jail just like the rest of us. They're not.
Who permits the state? Who stops the state from growing its power? Who keeps the state in check? Who keeps the government in check from expanding its power?
Elected representatives.
Elected representatives.
House.
How do elected representatives necessarily stop this?
Sometimes I don't think they do, because I like my
my point,
Florida, but I absolutely despise the ones in California. And so I think the California representatives are absolutely stupid. And so
we're just talking in a theoretical theoretical world here. We're not talking about necessarily US politics. We're just theoretically talking about our own society that has more government control. So I would bring up US representatives as an example.
Well, I'll explain it more then. When we elect representatives, it's all of the counties and the state. They elect who they want to afford their beliefs. And so that's why you have 2 per state. No, that's Senate. I'm sorry. They elect people who overall they believe, who they want to portray their opinions. And so it matters when it comes to representatives, because in a fully democratic state like California, their priorities are completely different than the ones in Oklahoma. It's polar opposite. And so saying that it doesn't matter when it comes to them having control over the government or decisions, it makes a big role, because historically Republicans are pro police, and then Democrats in modern time they're not. And so the Democrats, they want to take take funding away from the police, and the Democrats want to give more. And so it really matters when it comes to all of that. The little details, it really does matter.
So what is the police's role? Like, what is the police's role in a society?
Without looking it up on the dictionary, I would say they're a set service.
It's not based on a definition. It's just based on a subjective evaluation of what you think the police should do in your society.
There are people who, God, I don't know how to word this. It's like, for some reason, it's really hard. People who go into a job to serve and protect their community.
Protect the community. Okay, sure. Yeah. So police. I believe police. Do you believe police stop crime before they happen most of the time?
Most of the time, yes, but there's clearly it's.
I would disagree with that.
Why would you disagree?
I could bring up empirical evidence right now.
Okay.
But
Aren't
yeah.
you an Austrian? I thought you rejected empirical evidence.
I'm not debating econ, so it doesn't matter. Shut up.
Okay.
Oh, if it said you didn't want to do that, so then don't do it.
No, he's right. Austrians only reject empiricism when it comes to econ because it's a social science. Hey, Lee.
Okay. So I don't. If we look at I have it in my thought. A New York Times article. It says that police generally do not stop crime before they happen because of police. Police generally cannot stop crime before they happen because we cannot. It's very hard to say if let's say if someone was walking up right with a knife to go and stab you, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if there's a police officer there, they can obviously analyze that they're gonna initiate force against you. That is pretty obvious, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. But how can a police officer? So most crimes are, I would say, committed that are not stopped by police, and there's a lot of crimes are done and not even reported. And I would say, how can police act on a crime that has not happened yet? How can you act on something that hasn't happened if they give no reason to act upon crime, if the criminal doesn't act upon crime?
Here's the best way I can kind of explain it. People knowing that police exist stops them from doing a crime. Just knowing that they have the possibility of jail or getting arrested, that it's in itself stops people from committing crime. If we didn't have cops,
so why do we have just because of that, then why do we need a big police force? Because there's no the only reason that is preventing crime from happening is just a police force, no matter if it's just minimalized or a big police force, then you're just arguing and you're just conceding to my point. Because my point is that I'm pragmatically saying that we should have a minimalized police force that only acts on crime committers, because most crime cannot be analyzed before it happens.
Most definitely not. Well, they're hired by county, or let's see what my dad was in. My county has over 10 million people in it. Do you think 10 cops, if we want to, let's say half.
Are you trying to bring up
like
numbers on how much police we should have in each county? Because I'm not arguing in a
you said that why do we have so many cops? And I'm just giving the example. Is if in a county with 10 million people, 10,000 cops isn't going to cut it. That would be mayhem. And I'm definitely not saying this to be mean. I just
what would you
this is
mean
better.
mayhem? You believe without government control that people would just create chaos?
Yeah, crime, chaos, murder, rape, all of the above. And before you go on, when it comes to, I would start citing facts from the FBI and from government sites.gov, not from New York Times, Fox News, CNN. This, you bring that up, people are just gonna totally dismiss you.
I mean, we can bring up empirical evidence if you want. It's just that.
No, as a debate tactic, doing it from the New York Times when they have articles of how to get your first kiss by 16, like it doesn't really.
Well, all news sources. So okay, if we were to discuss what news sources and empirical evidence is valid or not, that would just go into a whole different debate. And I believe it's an appeal to subjectivity fallacy, because all empirical evidence is all of the sources of news have their subjective, I would say they have their own bias. So you cannot critique someone's empirical evidence and then use your own, because it would just be, I could just say the same thing about yours. Yours has your own contentions and own biases because.
What evidence did I give? Statistics was.
No, I'm just saying if you're gonna say my empirical evidence isn't valid because it's
it was invalid. I'm just saying when it comes to debate, if you truly want to bring this down the line, because you're going to college soon. If you want to do this in college, bring up New York Times as your source isn't going to do well. And that was just hope.
But it's an appeal to subjectivity fallacy once again, because all empirical evidence has biases and stuff like that. There's no there's no one source that doesn't really have implicit biases within their own broadcasting institution.
Government statistics, legally, they cannot lie. Every single thing that is put in, let's say, the FBI, they have to put in every single rape committed in the country has to be sourced from the FBI. It's illegal to not do so. That's why so many people use government, or that's why they have to, because Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, they don't want to cite that because it won't skew with their agenda. And so if you go straight to the government statistics, no one can deny it because it's facts.
So most of the time, so since you believe police are the actors that prevent crime from happening, right? Because you believe with the existence of police, people are scared to commit crime because of consequences, correct? Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So why do we need I hence the question again, why do we need a huge police force? Because there's no need for a huge police force. It's the only reason why that we need police to exist is to be an entity that is to scare the criminals off of committing crime. So
that's a very, very minute reason for the board. It's also to protect the country. They don't just protect the country from us, they protect us from the country and other countries.
Police are more likely to search police are more likely to search my car for drugs than to actually stop crime from happening. Because police, most of the time, they end up chasing the criminal after he commits crime, correct? Because
yes.
That's their job, all right? So why do we need a huge police force if the police force cannot act on an entity that hasn't committed crime yet? If they cannot tell if the crime isn't committed, you can't act on something that hasn't happened, unless you know it's happened.
So you're anti-police because you don't like the fact that they can't stop crime before it happens?
No, no. My point is just saying that I'm arguing from a perspective that of a minimal government, right? So I'm just saying that there should be a police force, but I don't think it should have that big of a role or more funding that you advocate for.
Okay, how much funding do you want to take away and from what areas?
No, I just don't believe in funding the police. If we're gonna so we'll just talk in the United States, for example. Um, I would say that I don't believe in funding the police more. I just believe in minimalizing their role.
And how do you want to minimize? Like, what do you want to take away that you don't want them to no longer do?
I would just say unnecessary funding for utility they don't need, or just
I need examples.
I would just say unnecessary funding, just as
I know, but if you want to make the stance, you have to have examples.
Yeah, I'll make an example. So if a police facility, I'll just make a broad example, has enormous amount of like cop cars or something like that, or I just don't believe that police force should have a substantial amount of funding.
I mean, they don't have as many cop cars as you think. Most of the time on the road, you'll see 2 cops in a car because they don't have. So I think
I have stuff on this. So police are granted 1 car, right? And people that just work at a police facility are just on security duty are not granted cars because it's not their job, right? But police that are active duty that pursue criminals have some of them even take their cars. All of them are granted 1 car to their house, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So
do you know the reason for that? Because they don't for example, if they get in a wreck from chasing someone, they don't want to pay their own car or their gas or their mileage, or let's see, a BMW is not going to outchase a Corvette. That's just not going to happen. They have these for a reason. And when you think they have too much funding and too much cop cars, if you really look into the details, they don't have enough. They don't have enough for their own.
I would say just take away funding for I just don't I'm not taking a position on how much funding they should have for utility. I'm just saying they should have less funding for utilities.
If you want to make the argument that you want to take away funding, you need to know exactly what you want taken away, how much, and for what.
I mean, okay, I can just put the same argument. Since you want more or stable police funding, what would that funding go to, and how would we use this funding?
I think we definitely need what's it called? We need mental health for cops. I mean, have you seen the statistics sorry, there's
I don't believe it's I don't believe that's really something that really contributes to the premise that we're arguing. If police,
no, it does. My dad was a cop, and he hasn't been a cop.
No, I'm not. I don't think this is applicable to our topic because our topic is arguing it more funding to police is small.
Like schools, they need to have therapists in sheriff's departments. It's a really, really big issue. And my dad was a cop, so I know this. I have cop family friends. People have killed themselves over this job.
I think you're going into an appeal to emotion policy, but
access it.
Yeah, I don't believe in more police funding. I believe the police should be minimized and just do their job, as they say. I would say the only role for the police is act upon crime if it were to happen, and that their role is minimalized.
Told them getting injured, or one of their friends dying. You don't think they should have accessibility to a therapist, a psychologist?
Well, they voluntarily partake in a police department. Okay, so when they sign a contract to become a police, If their police department, let's say, doesn't provide them the service, then they're not entitled to it, of course. They have to go to a private contractor outside of it to pay for the service, right? So if they voluntarily sign up for the job, I don't think they're entitled to the service.
Okay. Well, you asked what I think funding should go to, and that's what I think. If we're gonna make funding, or if we're gonna have to split up, people these days want to take away funding from cops. If you're gonna take it away, at least put it towards something like that. Because everyone's saying the whole reason that
I want to take away funding from the police because I don't want to give them much power. Because I believe in a truly
money doesn't give power when you're having people with $40,000 a year. They have limited things they can do. They can't go out and kill people. They have the exact same moral compass that we do.
I disagree with that. I believe
morals aren't real. They're made to cope with our mortality.
What?
I believe that. I disagree with that. I believe in the existence of police brutality, but that's a whole different debate. But yeah, police definitely.
Hold on. I want to ask you this question. You say police brutality. Sure. Yeah, of course. Some cops, what was it, Derek Chauvin? Lock him up until he's dead. 100% agree.
Okay, but so to prevent this from happening.
I think this is going to be a really good point. I want you to be able to understand this. Characterizing cops as a whole as bastards and saying you want to take away their funding. All of us as fourth graders who hated our teachers have no room to talk, because you cannot tell me that you like all of your teachers in high school, because some of them are assholes. They don't deserve a job.
I would make my first contention with one that's an indirect analogy into we don't hate police as individuals. We just don't believe they partake in a system that should be monopolized. I don't believe the police. You're not proving why police should be given more funding because of
why they. Do you think teachers should get more funding for schools, public schools?
We're arguing a premise of police and the death penalty. We haven't even gotten to the death penalty yet. This is just a circular argument on what we think of funding.
It's hypocrisy, because it's the same element. If you think teachers should get more funding, so should cops, because there are bad teachers, there are bad cops.
We're not talking about teachers. This is just getting away from the topic. I don't want to debate in bad faith here. I'm just telling you that this is analogous to what we're actually talking about, and that it doesn't matter, and that we're just wasting time.
It's not wasting time, because you can't make a premise and then not take all the different details and put it into another situation that's exactly like it.
Well, we're not debating on the subject. Okay, we can. Since we're getting nowhere on if funding the police more would be bigger or smaller government, we can talk about the death penalty. How is the death penalty as a law? How is it small government for the government itself to be able to kill its own citizens by punishment?
Because once you do the act.
Okay, before we move on, I would like to explain that you could. Even if we conclude that the death penalty might be, I disagree with the premise that the death penalty should be a thing in society, right? But I'm gonna explain. Even if we think it's necessary, it's still inherently big government. Because if the government has the right to kill its own citizens, that threatens more citizens and their civil liberties as their freedom to act. Because the government is given more power by being able to kill its citizens. So I disagree that it is small government. I feel like it's the aspect of big government itself.
You're taking it to a very extreme premise. When you just say straight up, they're giving the right to kill people, who are they killing? They're killing murderers and rapists. These people have murdered other people, which is against the law.
Wait. You're disregarding the existence of people being unjustly killed by the death penalty. I can bring up the empirical evidence now.
Of course that's happened.
So why do you want the death penalty to exist to kill innocent citizens? That shouldn't be.
Because the vast majority are not innocent. You're
disregarding the individual. So if you're being ultratarian, you're just it's kind of.
Norman, what was that word?
I didn't use the word correctly. I would say that you're disregarding the individual because you're still having. So you think it's justified to kill some individuals because the vast majority are bad?
No, I'm saying that you have the right to kill them once they kill someone else, and that's taking away.
Yeah, but the policy, the death penalty itself, still takes away innocent lives, even though it kills
They're
the
not.
vast majority
No,
and
the
murder
majority are
stuff.
not. The vast majority. It
Yeah,
is.
but you're still disregarding the rights of the individuals who still had their rights violated by the government itself because of the death penalty. It's a policy. You're
So you
disregarding that.
don't killing other people. Do you think the people who were murdered had their rights taken away?
I think people that are murdered do not have the entitlement to rights anymore. I just believe that
Exactly.
we shouldn't have the death penalty because it infringes on innocent lives if we look in the empirical data. So I believe in policies such as life sentences or
I think. Wait, I don't think Norman's being clear here when I think he's talking about false convictions. I don't think he's saying that the people who are actually guilty on death row are innocent. I think he's talking about the innocent.
false convictions, or there's
Yeah,
actually some that are actually innocent still, but it's
Let
not
me,
completely accurate.
you can't span an entire law. You want the death penalty to be legal. I'm assuming, right?
Wait, do you realize the death penalty actually takes more taxpayer dollars to
I
exist as something? So it's actually kind of big government in both ways, I would say.
Okay, hold on. You're saying it as you want the death penalty to be not a thing because you think there are innocent people on death row.
Yes, because I don't want to disregard the rights of the individuals. Yes.
And take a very, very small, minute, out of the box amount of cases and make that an entire.
I would say it's actually a decent a substantial amount of cases.
I want to make abortions illegal. People don't want to make it legal.
We're not debating abortion, but
This is an example. It goes exactly the same way. I want to make them illegal. People don't. Why? Their only answer is they think that there's incest victims and rape victims who don't want to have their babies. That is a 0.001% of the times abortions are committed.
wait. I have one comment, right? So let's say actually let's use your abortion example. Do you think abortion is okay in cases of rape?
Yeah, yes, I do. I personally.
Okay. So why don't you just have a law that allows abortion in cases of rape?
Because that's not what people want to do. If you ask,
Wait, that doesn't matter. Wait,
no,
when discussing what
no,
wait.
hold
So
on, hold on.
how the same thing not
Norman.
Yeah, I'll let you talk, but I just want.
Okay, I have said that exact same argument. If there's a 13-year-old who's raped by her uncle and has a
Well,
baby,
no, she'll die in
I have
pregnancy if she's 13.
example. I think she should have right to have an abortion. Personally, I would never do that because I think that's a life. But if a 13-year-old that happened to a 13-year-old girl, never in a million years would I make her carry that baby because that's horrible. But I understand that they do. People who open their legs up because they want to have fun, no, they do not have the right to abortions. And so every time I brought the argument, sure, let's make every single abortion illegal except for rape victims, incest victims. Yeah,
Okay.
takes.
Yeah. So
I can make this
let's bring this back to the Norman. Please shut up. So let's bring this back to like the death penalty, right? So like, is it better to have 9 criminals in jail, and is it better to have 10 people in jail, one of whom is innocent, or is it better to have 9 murderers dead, but another innocent person dead?
That was kind of what I was equating to what I was saying about the death penalty, by the way. Just spec explained it better than I.
An unrealistic standard. You can't make a law around something that is so minute because we would never get any. It's like saying teaching kids that had 12 fingers. You teach in school, we had 10 fingers. That would make a crazy science class if we had to go around and people can have 13 fingers.
Or you could just change it. The majority of people have 10 fingers. However, some individuals don't.
And that's
I don't see the problem. Just don't make it an absolute statement.
No, the majority of people on death row, they are guilty. That's the almost entirely. You cannot put someone up for the death penalty if you're not 100% sure. Of course, there are some times
Wait,
where
You can't be 100% sure ever.
Can I make a contention with this? Who decides? Who decides to lock? Like, who decides to lock up a person? Like, what entity?
the jury, the judge.
The government. Yeah, the government itself. Government.
Wait. But that's not really true. Like 6% of cases on death row are presumed to be innocent, or
Or people
Presumed.
who are
it's not really.
wrongly
It's not really
convicted.
this like minute thing that
It's not. Yeah, that's
making
what I
it
was
out to
arguing
be.
earlier. That's what I
Oh
was
my
gonna.
God! Please shut up, Norman. I'm kidding. I love you, but
Yes,
yeah. Huh?
it's presumed. It's very rare that you have facts to prove that they're innocent. And if you do, it's because
The
Wait,
burden of
wait.
proof would
This
be
is
on it's innocent until proven guilty.
exactly. You're saying that 6% of people on death row are in 6%, you said? Are
Yeah.
innocent?
Let me get you the exact number right now.
it's 5 to 6%.
Okay, yeah.
Both studies that I found.
5% are presumed innocent.
Yeah,
Do you
so
have
basically for every 19 murderers that die, an innocent person dies. And I think I think it would you could disagree here, and that might just be your morals, but like wouldn't it
no?
be more moral to have like 19 criminals like locked up in jail, and when you find out that that innocent person is actually innocent, which has happened, there's multiple documented cases of
Of
like
course.
after you execute someone, you realize they're innocent. Now what? They're
Uh,
dead. Can't really do anything. But with
multiple
prison,
out of
huh?
hundreds and thousands, like hundreds and thousands. It's not a common occurrence.
Yeah, but is it
It,
moral that it's
And
still no?
you,
Okay. What Speck is trying to argue here is that it is better to have them all in jail rather than innocent people that some innocent people die on death row. You are
here's
disregarding the
my
argument.
this is how in my head I am pro death penalty, because whatever the person doesn't want, I want them to have. If they don't want to die, kill them. If they don't want to be in prison for life, put them in prison for life.
how do you determine that?
Wait, why?
Half the time
Wait,
they
all right.
they make
All right. I
deals.
want to turn this
I don't want to
argument
die,
around.
so that's how they get off the death
All right.
penalty. If
So
they don't want to die.
all right, we're arguing that the death penalty is simply like a concept that we should have in our society.
Wait. Are you
Argue-
saying? Or wait. Are you saying that we should have the death penalty? We should.
no, obviously not.
Wait,
I'm against
not you, Norman. Are you saying that we shouldn't have the death penalty if they don't want to die?
I want whatever they don't want.
why is
Why?
that?
I want because if they are
All
in
right, so
death row, they're there for a really horrific reason. There are serial
Or they're
killers.
innocent.
okay, but
Oh,
you're disregarding the
oh,
evidence
God.
that you're disregarding the 5 to 6% people
Yes.
on the road that are falsely accused. So you're still disregarding those people. Like, how do you respond to that?
Okay, just hear me out for a second. Like I said, you don't teach we have 12 toes and fingers. You teach we have 10 normally.
Yeah, except that's education. We're talking about human lives.
Let's say that there are if we completely disregard the 5 and 6%, do you think serial killers, serial rapists,
I don't think
traffickers
serial rapism.
who are 100%
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that.
do you think that they should be murdered? They
Well,
should be on
it
the
wouldn't
death.
be murder. I don't know about Norman on this, but yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with the death penalty, except that you can't ever be certain. Like if even one person on death row could be innocent, then well, not could be innocent, but is innocent, then no, I'm against the death penalty, which is why I'm against the death penalty on like an actual perspective, not from a moral standpoint.
Because there's still, no matter from a policy perspective, even there's no perfect society where we can be for certain if people are actually, innocent or not innocent on death row. Right? That's why there's a 5 to 6% occurrence of people that are innocent on death row. Correct?
For a lot
The
of
reason
people,
why we are against the death penalty is for people that are falsely accused and shouldn't die, that don't deserve this.
I think your stance on the death penalty is around this innocent.
Yes.
If you take, which I
Because
that, but let's say you take out the innocent. Do you think the people who are 100% proven guilty
Yes.
have them on video?
yes, but that is not what in the
Yeah, but that's
perfect
not what
society,
happens. That's our point.
our
Sure,
problem
sure.
with this is that
Yeah, we could be 100%
totally-
certain of everyone on death row that they were guilty, and like without a shadow of doubt. Then yeah, sure, I'd be fine with the death penalty.
Yeah, but that is a
But that's
utopian.
not a
That's
thing.
simply unrealistic. That's why the death penalty has caused 5 to 6% of people who are convicted of it to be false, to be innocent of this penalty.
People, can you tell me if those 5-6%? Because actually being sentenced to death, like going in the electric chair, is very rare. A lot of these people die in prison before they actually get sentenced to death. Do these people?
Do you have
Okay.
empirical evidence to prove so?
Yeah, hold on.
I don't think you know what empirical evidence is, Norman.
I don't care.
No, I funny, I get it.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't be empirical.
Even if we're I think we've gotten away from the main argument here. Even if we say that the death penalty is something that we should need or not, I still believe it's inherently bigger government, because the government now has the power to kill its citizens. It's inherently bigger government because we delegate the government the power to do more stuff to its citizens.
If it was people, why do you think we have a jury? Because you can't just put all rule into the government's hands. That it would cause outcry.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
have
That's
Yeah,
why
we
we
should
don't
abolish
believe
the
in the death
government.
penalty.
they're the ones who make that call. It's not the government. It is 12 random jurors from all over the country who go in, listen, make their stance, and do it. It's not a politician sends them to
Yeah.
death.
Wait,
I-
I have one question.
No,
I have one question.
You're not refuting.
Norman.
Yeah, I'll let
Okay,
you talk. But I'll let you
okay.
get them out.
Like if we had like if we, let's say we were building the ship, right? Would
Yeah.
we want 12 random people to choose like how to build the ship, or would we want someone who's actually like who actually knows about shipbuilding?
Yeah, you want them.
You want the latter, right?
Uh-huh.
So why don't we apply that same reasoning to juries and jurors?
Said he doesn't want the government choosing the death penalty, and that would go directly against that.
Sure. Yeah, you're saying you don't want the government in there, but you also agree that we should have people who are experts choosing these things. So either you
No, the jurors, they don't have to dig up evidence. They are given evidence and they decide what they want to do with it. Being a juror is great because you're not a lawyer. You don't have to figure out what's right, what's wrong, how to defend them.
well, no, you do have to find out what's right and wrong.
You just have to sit there and listen, and then you make up your
Are
decision.
you for mandated jury duty?
What?
Are you for like mandated jury duty?
You kind of have to.
Yeah, but do you think that's how it ought to be, not how it is?
I don't really have a stance on it because I don't really know much about it, but I know the basics.
It's just you have to come here and be a juror.
I mean, you do get paid, so that's kind of an upside, and you do get off work.
Yeah, no, the simple.
Yeah, but
It's simply, should we mandate like jurors? Like should the government mandate you to be a juror?
I
Like,
would say, I like I said, I really don't know much about juror duty to know, but people who, this is just a totally made up statistic. Let's just say most people who want to do jury duty are right leaning. Do you want a right leaning person or right leaning people to mandate if you go to jail or not every single time? I don't think so. I wouldn't even want that.
Don't really.
It does. A lot of political views go down to moral views.
Ethics. I mean, I guess so. All right.
It does. And so would you want, like I said, let's just say people who want to do jury duty, they lean a certain way. Would you want the majority of people who are completely against, I don't know how to explain it.
Where are you
But
going with this? Because this is kind of like getting us nowhere.
well, that you're getting a little fight here. Because you're not really listening to my points. You kind of skip over them as soon as I start making them.
Because
So,
the points are not
I
really
would advise
bringing us
listening
anywhere
to
to
my
a conclusion.
points. I mean, when I do start making points, you kind of skip over different topics. So I can't ever finish them.
Well, it's because the points that you make are not bringing us to a general consensus.
They are, because they're examples, and you don't want to listen.
Well, how not? Well, it's just because they're not bringing us to a general consensus. All right. Well, all right. I want to redirect this debate to
Okay.
I want to do abortion.
even if we say that the death penalty is something that we should have in our society or not, it's still inherently bigger government because we delegate the government to do more stuff to us, to be able to have more ability and power over citizens.
If it was bigger government, we would have politicians and people elected purely as jurors to do
No,
it.
you're misinterpreting because no matter what happens, right? The government still has the ability to kill us. That's the whole point. It's just simple because the government itself has the ability to kill us via death penalty.
Can't go off of their moral compass. They have to go off. Is there enough evidence? Did they make a strong case? You can't be a judge and you can't do it morally. You have to go by the law. Yeah, you can swing certain ways, but you have jurors of all different backgrounds for a reason, so it can't be biased like the government is. If we were to put the government in, it would be biased.
No, you are misinterpreting what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, no matter how we interpret the death penalty, we still give the government this power to kill us. The government is doing it because it's a government institution via death penalty.
And who makes the decision?
Who makes the decisions? Well, the jurors and stuff like that. But it's still a government act and duty.
And who are the jurors? Are they government people? Are they government officials?
Well, all I'm saying is that the act of the death penalty itself, what we give and delegate the government to have, it gives them more power. It's not. It's immutable. How is it not?
I would agree if it was elected officials in the government who were making the decisions, but it's not. It's regular people like us who have no background.
Yeah, sure.
And we go from all different backgrounds and beliefs and morals.
No.
If it was
interpreting what I'm not arguing. Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying. What you're trying to say is that people go on death row because they're evicted guilty, right? By the jury, right? But who is killing them?
But they're not convicted because
but what institution is killing them? And why do we delegate an institution such as the government to kill them? Even if we grant that death penalty is a necessary evil that we ought to have in our society, it's still giving them more power. It is not small government because we are giving them more power. Because the government is the institution that has this power, that has the power to kill us. No matter what the jurors, I know what you're saying. The jurors decide on the death penalty or not. But the government is still the actor that goes through these process of the death penalty.
Okay, you broke up a little bit, but I understand what you're saying.
He's not referring to like the government convicting these people. He's referring to the government actually executing them.
Yeah, the government actually, because the government is the institution that we delegate this power to, because the government is the one killing these citizens themselves.
Who tells them to?
The jurors, I'm not referring. I know the jurors and stuff like that, right?
I know, but if the jurors, you're not understanding what I'm saying. It would be the government.
You cut out, by the way.
I don't think it really matters whether or not the jurors tell them. Like,
it does because
wait, if no, like if 90, like let's say we're in a system of direct democracy, if 51% of people vote for a larger government, just because the majority of people voted for something doesn't mean it's suddenly not big government. So just because the citizens are delegating this power to the government doesn't mean that the government is the same size. It's still a larger government.
Right. I have an argument. All right, I have an argument against your the police, right? I just brought this one up. All right. So the police, you believe the police are you can still support police and small government, correct?
100%.
Okay, sure. Okay. Let's say Joe Biden hypothetically installs a gun control policy that takes away all military grade rifles. This would obviously restrict your freedom, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I disagree with that.
What institution is going to take away your guns? It's the police, right? Correct? So how is the police giving us a small government if the police is going to enforce this policy?
Hold on, you're breaking up.
Okay, I'll explain it again.
Yeah, you're gonna have to re-explain it.
I'll explain it again. Okay, so let's say Joe Biden himself, right, installs a gun control policy that bans all military grade rifles.
Okay.
This
illegal.
Yeah, all military, it makes them illegal, all right, in the hands of civilians.
Mhm.
So this policy restricts your freedom to own these guns, right? Because it is your God-given, I wouldn't say God-given right, but your constitutional right to be able to bear arms. And this right shouldn't be infringed, right? So it's restricting your freedom, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what institution is going to enforce this law and going to take your guns?
I mean, if you're not the Joe Biden,
police.
then the Joe Biden administration.
Well, it's the police, correct?
Yeah, I would assume so. I really guess the military.
So if the police is the institution going to take away your guns, how is the police small government in this scenario?
Because the police, they don't make up their own rules; they follow an order.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can see that the police just follow the government's laws, if the government implements a policy that restricts your freedom, then the police would also, this same logic would apply to the police.
If I'm going to be completely honest, if it were to come down where the police had to come take our guns, I really don't think a lot of them would do that. I think they would. A lot of police officers would rally against it.
I disagree with that.
You think a lot of cops are anti?
No, I'll bring up an example. So gun control has historically happened in some places with mass genocide. So what Hitler implemented on the Jews?
Oh yeah.
A gun control policy. What institution took away the guns from
the government.
Yeah, what government institution?
Hitler's?
Well, the police. Yeah, the police. So how is the police small government can still be small government in this scenario? How's it small government? It's not. It's just not.
Well, thoughts on communism?
I do not like it.
Why not?
Because Norman,
please stop speaking. What's up? So why don't you like it?
It's never worked.
When has capitalism worked?
The United States. We are the
where 37,000 people.
Capitalism has worked.
When 37,000 people a year die from a lack of health care.
Yeah.
And that's your definition of worked?
365 million people. 70,000.
There were like 150 million people in the USSR.
Adam, please shut up. Adam, please shut up. Can I do this, please?
No.
You can't just be given health care. It's a necessity morally. But
Adam,
you can't.
Can you please mute him? Can you please mute him, please?
Wow. Okay, this is racism.
No, I'm kind of white passing. All right. All right. So what is communism? Can you define it?
It's basically where you take, I'm trying to give an example. I don't really know how to describe it without giving an example.
All right. Before we move on, who is the person who created the theory of communism? Who is the person?
Oh, I don't know. If you say the name, I'll know, but I don't really know right now.
Karl Marx.
Yeah. Well, he's a Marxist. Makes sense.
Right. So we would use his theory, right?
Yeah.
What communism is, right?
Anything with Marxist in it is automatically horrible.
So communism is a stateless, classless, moneyless society.
Mm-hmm.
So a communist country has never existed because this would be
contradictory. It has. Venezuela.
Wait, what? So we just defined communism as a stateless, classless, moneyless society.
I know. Venezuela is an openly communist country, and they went from one of the best and richest countries in the entire world to one of the lowest class dirtbag countries.
Okay. So I'm not sure.
Zach, please shut up, please.
No,
Please,
this is literally Venezuela is a
Jared, I will pay you. I will literally have you as a sex slave or some shit. I don't know. Okay. All right. So how can a communist country exist if communism is stateless? That's a contradiction in terms.
It's why. Okay, you said it's
Did
no,
Venezuela
no,
abolish state too?
no money, no class. Who makes that happen? The government. So there
No, it's
is.
just through well, Marx. Well, I'm not the biggest on Marxist theory or anything, but it would be
I would
through
hope not.
it'd be abolishing it. The government itself is an institution that is the state, right? The state, right?
Uh huh.
So how can a communist country exist? Because there's already a contradiction in terms. Because communism is stateless. So communism has never existed through this logic. Because Marx said communism is stateless.
Well, then how would that even? How can anything be stateless?
with no state.
We could argue. We could just argue if anarchy is
Do the
possible
people
or
make
not.
up the rules? How does that work?
So
A
just
state
because
is
it's
just a
not,
legal monopoly on force.
yeah.
Well,
So
no,
the
Marx had two more
people run themselves,
classifications.
basically.
So since
There's no
communism is
way.
stateless, so okay, since just because you're arguing that a society with no government or no state is impossible doesn't disprove that Marxism or not Marxism, I'm sorry, communism is
Communism.
stateless, right? So communism has never existed, is what you're saying, right?
I would say the guy who wrote the definition of communism didn't know what he was talking about, because you said that there's
Wait, you
no.
agreed
The
that
original paper.
Marx wait. Well, Marx
No, hold
wasn't the first to write about communism. It was actually his utopian forefathers. But like Marx was the one who laid out the scientific socialism and a means to achieving social communism. And he laid the basis of the political foundation for communism, and he described it as a classless, stateless, moneyless society. So unless it is a classless, stateless, moneyless society in which the means of production are publicly owned, then it
And
cannot be classified as communist. You might say it's not capitalist. Okay,
yeah,
fine, fair, but it's not communist.
Well, then you gotta go question Venezuela then, because they are very openly communist.
how are they
What?
communist if it's a
No, no,
state?
no. I don't care if they like say they're communist. By definition, they are not communist.
By the definition of the roots of communism.
The definition of itself makes absolutely no sense. You said
Yeah,
no.
but it is the definition.
That's just what the definition is.
That's just
It
what
doesn't
the
make it. It's theoretically impossible.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure, sure. But
yeah, then you're
wait,
proving
yeah,
it.
but we're talking
No.
about whether or not it's existed.
It has.
When?
Venezuela, multiple countries.
Okay.
You're going.
Wait. Premise one.
Oh my
Premise
God.
one. Communism necessitates that it is stateless. Premise two. Venezuela has a state. Conclusion. Venezuela is not communist.
They are.
Hold on.
Oh,
Okay,
Have you
okay.
taken
Wait.
your
I
ninth
laid out a
grade
syllogism.
econ
I laid out a
class yet?
syllogism. Which one of my
Have you-
premises? Which one of
Have
my
you
premises and
taken
which
your
one of my
ninth grade
conclusions?
econ class yet, or you haven't got there?
Yeah, I've taken an econ class.
Okay, I would take it again.
Okay.
Wait, can you define aggregate demand for me?
Can I take what?
Can you define aggregate demand?
Agriculture demand?
Aggregate
demand. Can you give me the equation for aggregate demand?
I can't hear you.
Give me the equation for aggregate demand.
Aggregate demand.
You're breaking up.
Okay, explain modern monetary theory.
Again, you're breaking up.
What is the paradox of thrift? Explain capital structure. Explain time preference. Explain interest theory.
So it's basically the demand for goods and services at any given time, basically.
Wait. Which one are you responding to? I asked like 8 things.
The
Aggregate
first one.
demand?
Yes.
That's not. Can you tell me the equation for aggregate demand?
I think it's like, I know it's on the not line theory. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I know it's like output, input, price level. It's on a certain scale where like the line goes up and it goes down.
That's supply and demand.
That's just
No,
fine.
aggregate
That's
demand.
how you
Yeah, no,
calculate it.
No, the equation for aggregate demand is consumption plus
Like the
investment plus
the
government
formula?
spending. It's an equation. It wouldn't be a formula. Plus net exports plus net imports.
Equation has to do with numbers. Formula is syllables. So it would be a formula.
Sure, whatever. I don't really care for semantics.
I mean, if you really want to get into details here, you kind of have to have those correct.
Why are we
Sure,
debating?
sure. All right, I concede. It's a formula. Okay. What's your
Mhm.
point?
So okay, so prove.
So
Okay,
so no. So like econ wise, you're not gonna win that discussion.
What discussion?
Like on anything.
On what? You're not making any sense here.
anything, just anything.
Econ wise,
About what?
I don't think you're like good at debating econ. I mean, Venezuela is not communist. That's like
I
analytic
don't
a priori
think
true.
debating a lot of things, so I think we're pretty
Okay,
even here.
wait, Spec. Let me debate her on what communism is and if a communist quote unquote country has ever existed. Okay, so by Marx himself, Marx described communism as
Yeah,
stateless,
Marxist is
even
or
if it's
whatever it is.
unrealistic, which we can all agree upon, just means that it is never going to be achieved, and since it's not going to be achieved, it has never existed.
Then
So
why are
what is
you
the
for
point?
it?
I'm not for communism. I hate communism.
Then
I'm
why
just
are we
saying
arguing
because
communism?
because you're arguing that
The
if
only way to
that
argue
communist
communism
country.
is someone's positive and one's
Okay.
negative about it.
All
I'm
right.
negative, so that means you're
All right.
positive. And so if it doesn't exist, I don't know how you're positive.
No. We're arguing the topic if communism has ever existed. I'm taking the negative that communism has never existed. You claim that Venezuela was communist.
It is.
But this is already
That's
not.
just false.
Because
That's like
Venezuela is okay. So do you concede that Marx said that? So do you say communism is stateless, correct? Is communism stateless? Because Marx said so, and he was the outliner of communism.
What?
Is
Marx.
communism a stateless society? Because Marx laid out the framework that communism is stateless.
Hold on, pause 1 second. I'm getting my dinner.
Oh my god, this is so stressful. Lee, are you a communist?
I am.
Damn, bro. I want to work with a communist. Okay. Adam, I love you so much.
I love me too.
Yeah, you should. That's in your self-interest, so space.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, you can continue.
Okay, so communism is stateless society, right? Stateless. So a country that has a legal monopoly on force, right? A country. It would be contradictory
Marx
to
said
communism, right? It would be contradictory to communism. Correct?
No.
How would it not?
Because I don't really think you truly understand communism. I really
Then
don't.
define it. Then define communism.
It's taking goods overall and separating them evenly. That's the easiest way I can kind of explain it.
Who's the creator of communist theory? Who outlined
You
it
just
first?
told me it was Marx.
Yeah, it was Marx. So Marx says communism is a stateless, classless, moneyless society, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So a communist country would be a contradiction in terms because communism is stateless. No matter how stupid you think it is, that's what communism is. So it's
okay,
never
well,
existed.
how about this? Let's agree on that. I really don't understand how we're debating if neither of us are positive on it. So I would say let's
He's
just
taking
skip.
the positive that.
We'll go back to my previous point on police, all right?
Okay.
So if Biden implemented a gun control policy that restricts the military grade rifles, right?
That wouldn't be allowed.
Well, if it
Even
does
if
happen,
he wanted, no, it would not be.
just because you deem it unrealistic doesn't mean it can't happen. Because other countries around the world have implemented gun control.
It can't happen. I mean, literally, it can't. For the
No,
Senate
it
and the
can't.
House, it's not possible. Not even
Yeah, but
slightly
okay.
possible.
So, do other countries around the world have some form of gun control, such as Australia, England?
I
Okay,
think all of them do.
so if we bring our hypothetical to these societies, and if there's a possibility of it happening, right? If this person in this society, the government says that we are going to take away all military grade rifles from civilians, correct?
Uh-huh.
What institution will be enforcing this law? What institution will be enforcing this law?
What law?
Gun control. What institution will be enforcing it?
Government.
It's the police, because the police are going to be the force taking away the guns.
I don't think it'd be the police. I think it'd be the military.
It would still be the same thing, police and military. It'd still be the police. Still, the police would be the ones taking away your guns, right? So how are the police in this scenario, police or military, whatever it is, the police in this scenario would not be small government because they're implementing and enforcing a policy that restricts your liberty, which isn't
Can
small
I
government.
have your literally that I don't think you really understand.
You cut out. But so what
I don't think you truly understand the concept of the police force.
Well, the police are the police operated by the government and what the government tells them to govern, how the government tells the police to govern and enforce law?
I mean, yes, but they're already mandated. You can't just go ahead and change it.
Okay, so has gun
They're
all right,
written,
we'll go back to
they're
my
written
original
into law
premise.
for a reason, so the government
Okay,
can't.
we'll go
take
back to
control.
my original premise. Has gun control, some form of gun control, existed in other countries around the world?
Yes.
Then you can see to the possibility of. Then you can see that this could happen. Okay, so if let's say in this society, just there's no outlined country or anything. The government tells the police, the government implements a policy that restricts citizens from owning military grade rifles.
Okay.
The institution that will be enforcing this will be the police or military. We'll just say in this hypothetical, it is the police themselves. So since the police are enforcing this law, how are the police in this situation small government if they are restricting your liberty by enforcing this law? It is not, because they are not. They are not small government by enforcing this policy. Correct?
Oh, I totally missed all what you were saying. It's not my fault I got bad connection.
Maybe we should just debate on abortion.
No,
I'm
it's
fine
that.
with that.
I'll debate.
Lee,
can I
please
debate?
check the chat.
I can't. I'm walking.
Right. Wait, Lee's an evictionist. Why would you debate an eviction?
I'm a departurist.
No, you're not. Shut up.
Yes, I am.
You're cringe. I hope you die now. I hope you're the one who gets aborted. Yep.
Yeah,
The word
okay.
evictionist. I've never heard that in my entire life.
Okay, wait. Actually, let's start off with like why are you pro-life?
I don't think you have the right to kill a baby
Why not?
because it's its own separate life.
Well,
okay. I can explain.
And it's based.
Okay. All right. So
it's
you
done
believe
absolutely nothing wrong.
Norman, please shut up.
No, let me.
I can't leave this debate with you like that.
Mute him. I want to.
No.
Mute him. I want to be a racist. I want to be a racist. Mute Spec, please. All right. So since the fetus is his own separate entity,
Yep.
So do you believe you should be forced into giving services to another person, like being coerced into giving someone other services?
No, that's why I'm
racist.
Anti all healthcare for all.
Okay, so why should the mother be forced to give its bodily services to a fetus? Because even if we say that the fetus does have the right to life, why does it have?
Because the mother couldn't close her legs, and now she has a baby, and she doesn't want to take care of it. Simple as that.
Hey, Norman, you know that evictionist doc I sent you?
Yeah, I know.
Look at objection 7. It's exactly what they're saying right now. It addresses it.
Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna look at it, but okay. So since it's based off a consequence, right? Since the fetus is an innocent being, right? Are you arguing its innocence, that it did nothing wrong?
Yeah, it's done nothing wrong.
If a fetus, all right, if an entity, let's say someone magically pops into existence on your house, do you have the right to remove them from your house?
Yeah.
Why would this logic?
Because it's your property.
Yeah, exactly. So
because
why?
a baby is not your body. Do you have 20 toes? Do you have 20 fingers? Do you have 2 heads?
The baby is
It's on your property. He's not saying you
okay.
are the
So
baby.
the fetus.
That's what a lot of people say. People say that it's their body. It's not. It's a whole separate being. 2
No.
heartbeats,
Yeah, but the
20
fetus is
toes,
in
20
your body. That's
fingers.
the point.
Since it is a separate being, right? Why does the fetus have the positive right for the mother services if the mother doesn't want to provide her bodily services? And why does it have
Because
this
she
positive right?
couldn't keep her legs closed, and she knew what would happen if she kept them open.
Consequence doesn't matter. We're
Yes, it
just
does.
talking.
If I leave
I
my
have a rebuttal. I have a good rebuttal. I have a decent rebuttal.
Norman, I have
No,
one
If you
thing
want
to
to go
say.
around
okay.
knowing you can have a baby, you
Okay,
have
okay.
no right to end a baby just because you're that
All right. If
selfish. No right.
if I go on a road trip, right, and I get in a
Mhm.
car crash, let's say if it's not my fault, right?
Mhm.
But just because I went on a road trip, did I consent to getting in a car crash?
Oh boy, are we going through the rape and incest
No,
one?
we're just talking about consequentialism or just consequence.
That's
Kind
Norman. This is
of
such a
sounds
what?
like it.
Well, not consequentialism. I used the term wrong, but
Okay.
I'm talking about mothers who know
okay,
they get in bed, open their legs with the
Okay.
mail.
If
okay.
I have my
sex.
door, if I go to sleep and I leave my door open and someone
Mhm.
breaks into my house, do I now should I now be forced to keep them on my property for 9 months?
So you're saying the baby just magically popped into you?
I'm not saying it
That
magically
doesn't
pops
make
No,
into
any
you.
it's
sense.
not.
What?
What is
I mean, it starts
analogy?
its existence there, yeah, but like I'm not like pointing to how it was
No,
caused. I
you
don't really
did.
All right.
You knew the
care.
consequences of doing it. You knew the consequences of having sex without
Okay,
protection.
let's say this person knows that their
92.
house will be broken into. Does that
Then
mean
they're
they
just
now
stupid.
Okay, yeah, yeah, you can call
They're
does that mean
just
they have to
stupid.
Sure. Do you think that that means they should have to keep that person on their property for 9 months? No, right? It
What are
doesn't
you
make sense.
talking about?
Wait, he's making a direct analogy. Can I explain this, Adam, please?
I don't
I
I
feel
don't
like hold on 1 second. I think I know you're trying to say, but it doesn't make any sense. You're saying someone who is it's not their house, they're trying to stay on the property that's not yours. Yeah,
Yes.
kick them off. I get it. But a
It-
baby is an entirely separate being. It has its own heartbeat, has its own nerves, it has its own head, has its own fingers, toes.
Wait,
It is no way is it the
so
mother's body.
so does wait, in my example, the person would also have toes and a heartbeat and a nervous system. What?
You're oh my god. It's actually are you being serious?
Yes, we are. That's why we're
Wait,
debating.
what part are you like not understanding of it? Like it's pretty simple, right? So
No, it's stupid.
Hey, don't intervene.
warrant
Adam,
that claim.
let him explain. Let him actually.
Okay. So
Okay.
okay. Well, firstly, you said that it is an innocent human life, right?
Yeah.
So warrant why I ought to value that.
Yeah. Why don't you value that?
Well, no.
How do you
I
want to
haven't
get
I
rid
haven't
of
made a
it?
claim. I haven't made a claim. I'm asking you to prove why I should value it.
Because it's not your body.
Okay. Why does that mean I should value it?
So you're saying because it's murder. You're killing a different if you
Okay.
kill a separate body, that's murder.
Okay. Why is murder wrong?
Did you really just ask that question?
Yes.
I'm waiting for this chat to blow up because that was so oh my god. Because it
You don't care.
is. You can't
What do you
end
mean
someone
because it
else's
is?
life
Why
if
not?
they did nothing wrong.
Why not?
Because it's in the law and it's morally wrong.
Wait. Are you saying that the law is inherently moral?
What if a law was
No.
implemented?
Please, Norman, not right now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. So you said it's morally wrong. Why is it morally wrong?
Because you can't just kill someone and just
Why
say you
not?
can't just kill someone.
Why
Do you believe
not?
morality?
Can't.
Do you believe in morality is
Wait,
objective?
that's literally just that's just an ad infinitum. Or, wow, I pronounced that terrible. That's an infinite regress. Why is it moral? You can't just say because it's immoral. Like why?
I mean, you can kill someone, but you have to know the consequences
Why?
that come with it. You can kill someone, but you gotta know there's gonna be consequences that
Yeah, but
comes
why
with
should
it.
why should those consequences exist?
Because you're ending
Yeah,
someone's
why is
life
that
that was
wrong?
not Because they didn't consent to being killed. You can't just end someone's life.
Why not?
Because they didn't consent to being killed. Why are you not getting
and
there?
even if they didn't consent to being killed, okay?
Then go to jail.
Why? Why should I?
Because you killed someone. You ended their life.
And you're saying that's immoral. I'm asking you why.
Because you can't just unwillingly end someone's life.
Why
That's
not?
Why not? You have to argue. He's
because
arguing.
they didn't consent to it.
Okay, I don't care if they didn't consent to it. Okay, and
that's my reasoning why. You can't
wait,
do something
that's not. You're not making an actually moral. You're not making a moral claim from it. You're just saying they didn't consent to it. Okay.
I would say
Now show how that translates to a normative claim.
Where I'm thinking.
I would say not consenting to be killed is pretty moral. It's a moral.
Why not? No, but you have to warrant your morals.
This is going nowhere. Jesus Christ.
I would, for your own sake, I would say to end this little montage.
Paige, I'll be willing to continue. All right.
Huh?
All right. So
I've yet to hear why it's wrong.
All right.
Because you can't.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Do you believe that so you don't believe that we'll go back to this argument. Do you believe that you should be coerced into serving another being?
No.
Okay, so why should the mother be coerced into serving the fetus?
Because they consented to sex and they opened their legs and they knew the outcome would
bring
be.
back this analogy. All right. If I go on a road trip and I get in a car crash, did I consent to getting in a car crash?
We're talking about a life here, not a car.
All right, what if I die from that? What if I die from? All right.
Well, you shouldn't have been driving bad then.
It's a direct analogy. No, but it's not my fault. If I go on a person, yeah, but no, I'm talking about did I consent to getting in a car crash? Did I consent to that?
No, duh.
Okay,
I mean, technically, if you want to get really technical, you consented to what would happen if you got in a car.
So yeah, okay. So if we could use the same logic, consent to sex isn't consent to pregnancy.
Yeah, it is. Because sex leads to baby.
Okay, so with this logic, going on a road trip and if I get in a car crash, I consented to getting in a car crash by your logic.
Yeah, once you got in that car, you knew the possible outcomes. Everything has a possible outcome. I decided to eat Chick-fil-A.
So
if I choke on it, well, I knew what would possibly happen if I drank Chick-fil-A.
Okay, can I give an example? Like back to my with the robbery example. Like let's say I leave my door open. There's a possibility that someone breaks, or even let's say I have my door locked. There's a possibility that someone breaks into my house. Did I consent to them?
Well, then you're proving my point. You're proving my point then, because you've made quite a bit, just that none of them kind of stuck.
No, I posited a thought experiment. You haven't responded.
The baby. I'm okay. Hold on 1 second. You're saying there's no consent if someone breaks into your house. If your parents decide to have sex and they conceive you,
no.
Is it your fault? Should you get murdered for their actions?
Wait. I haven't even made a claim as to that. I asked you, did you consent to that person breaking into your house?
No.
Okay. Now, you're saying that this doesn't apply to pregnancy because the fetus.
It doesn't because.
Because why?
You knew exactly what would happen, and you knew.
Okay. Let's say you know that someone will break into your house, so you take precautions. So you take precautions and you lock your door.
Mhm.
Okay. Does that mean that you now consented to it? Knowing something does not mean knowing the possibility of an outcome does not mean you consent to that outcome.
I'm kind of shocked that you're comparing a baby to a robbery.
Bro, it's literally meant to be a thought experiment. These appeals to emotion don't take you anywhere.
No, it does not make sense.
Okay,
That's an appeal to absurdity. That's an appeal to absurdity. That's a logical fallacy.
Hold on, the reason it doesn't make sense, I can use that exact same argument for the baby.
All right.
Then we would get nowhere.
Can I explain something? All right. So, like example, even if I had my door open, right, and someone gets in my house, Do I have the
Ken?
right to evict them from my house, even if I consented or not for them getting in my house? Do I have the right
What?
to evict them from my house? Do I have the right to evict that person from my house? Because I left the door open, right?
It's
And
not the same as having sex and getting a baby because it's a
Why
life.
not?
why
Because
not?
it's a life.
I
Yeah, the
don't
same
care.
thing. Yeah,
That's not the
okay,
principle we're
okay. That's the
comparing.
same thing. That's the same thing. The person who came on my property has a life as well. What is your? It's like it's yeah.
Because they consented to getting into that situation. The baby
Yo,
didn't. The
based
only reason that
antinatalist
baby is
moment.
there because of the parents. Huh?
Based antinatalist moment. Are you against people? Are you against conception?
Of course not.
Because the
How
argument
would
you
we
just
be
made would.
here?
Huh?
How would
Do
we
you
be
believe? Do you
here?
believe conception is immoral?
Having babies is immoral? Are you serious? No.
If the argument you just made like follows
No,
that it
it
would be
does
immoral,
not.
you're making an antinatalist argument.
I'm just kind of
Also,
shocked you have so
it's
many
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
verbs of
It's fine.
anti.
It doesn't matter if someone's consciously trespassing on your property. All that matters is that they are trespassing on your property.
It's not. It's different. Yeah, I agree. But a babies, they're not part of the human. It's not their property. It's
Wait,
the babies.
Yeah, they're
bro.
different. Okay,
We're not
this is
talking about
different.
the fetus's body right now. We're talking about
Then
the
why are we
mother.
arguing about abortion here?
Okay. I agree. It is also the fetus owns its own body as well, right?
Uh-huh.
The
Then why
mother
are we arguing?
owns her womb. The
Okay.
fetus is inside the womb. The fetus is a trespasser.
It's
Therefore,
not. Please, are you gonna go with the parasite one?
Can I? All right.
no, parasite that'd be biologically incorrect, but a
There's
trespasser,
someone
yeah.
who used the parasite argument.
Oh, no one used.
Sure. I mean,
No
you
one.
can address it like the parasite
No, it
argument.
doesn't, because actually, if something were to happen to the woman's,
No one
I think it's
that argument.
the liver, the
Actually.
baby. It's you'll have to research this, but I think it's the liver. Something happens to the mother's liver. The
It doesn't
baby
matter.
has
It doesn't matter. No one is
nutrition.
talking.
They can actually hear the mother.
Cool. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah, I don't
If
really.
you guys want to be rude, I can definitely leave, but I'm trying to be nice here.
No.
Yeah, I have to
we're
go to another
trying,
Zoom.
we're just trying not to
It
get it.
just yeah, it just doesn't really this comparison doesn't really matter since no one made the
I would
parasite
say
argument.
before you
No one
try
is
getting a
addressing.
different debate,
We're just
to,
trying not to waste time because we're addressing an
Yeah,
argument.
I gotta go
you're
soon.
doing a very bad job at it.
All right.
Oh,
So
okay.
so okay. So it doesn't matter if the trespasser is innocent or not, if it happened through consent or not. It even so does it matter if I consented to someone to getting on my property or not? Can I still evict them?
Yeah.
Okay, so why does this logic not apply to abortion?
Because you're killing something.
Yeah, but if someone comes on my property, right?
Eviction, like kicking them out of your property and killing them, is completely different.
Okay. How about you? Let's say there's a deadly
Because what
storm outside your
happens if,
house.
let's just say eviction,
What if
let's just say that was murder, they
if
would
a
go to
trespasser
jail because
is
it's
on my
murder.
property, right? And they were not to get off my property for 9 months, and they were not to move for 9 months. Do I have the right to kill them because they are still violating my property rights?
You're being
Don't
serious?
phrase it like that, but
What?
okay. Let's
I
say there's a deadly storm outside, right? And someone is inside my house. I originally consented to them being there, but now we've gotten into a fight, and now I don't want them on my property. And if they leave my house, they will die of like natural causes. But I won't be using force against them. And I ask them to leave, and then I move them out using the gentlest manner possible. Uh,
So what's the gentlest manner?
Let him explain the full scenario.
no, that's basically it.
Okay.
Yeah, just removing them in the gentlest manner
Well,
possible.
you said gentlest quote unquote possibility of getting them out. What's the gentlest possible way of getting a baby out of a
Probably a
womb?
C-section.
Tearing its arms and legs off?
No,
Pretty
probably
gentle.
a C-section.
Probably C-section.
Then that's birth.
Well, no, if it's before viability, the fetus will die. So no, it would be a premature
That's
C-section.
birth. Abortions don't happen through C-section. They happen when you rip their arms and legs off.
Cool. Then I guess I'm against the abortion and I'm for eviction, even if it ends the fetus's life.
What?
That-
Eviction and abortion? That's basically the exact same thing.
Yeah. See, that's
So
where.
you're for abortion, but against it.
No, I'm against
C-sections,
abortion.
no C-sections do not happen in abortion. Doesn't happen.
It doesn't
now-
matter.
It'll
Okay,
qualify
yeah.
for-
I'm not advocating for how abortions are done now. I'm advocating for a new way of them being performed.
Okay.
Then that would be birth.
Sure. Yeah, it would, and the fetus would end up dying, but you can call it birth. I don't really care about semantics. It just.
It's not semantics. It's just definitions.
Semantics is literally definitions.
Yeah.
You get that right.
Yeah, but okay, fine. It's birth, and.
Exactly. I don't
Wait,
want the baby
so you're
to be
for
killed.
eviction, right?
So you're an
What?
eviction. So
Yeah,
you're
an evictionist.
you're not pro life.
That's that. No.
Please.
What is an evictionist? That shouldn't even be a phrase.
No, it's not a phrase.
I feel like
it's a
people are
term.
just making up new ist by the day. It doesn't make any
this
sense.
has been a thing for 26 years.
Oh boy.
It's created by Walter Ball.
Oh what?
And what Philip Whitehead, I think was his name.
Yeah, Philip. Yeah. Okay, so we'll go back to adjusting different scenarios and stuff. Just because if I consented or not to having someone on my property, I still have the right to kick them out because it's my property. You not applying logic to a fetus is you being logically,
because you're not killing them. You're ripping its arms and legs.
Okay. Let's say I remove
Adam,
you.
let me address this. Please. I'm begging you. I will literally do anything for you. I will literally kiss you. Just let me explain this. All right. So if someone was on my property and didn't want to move for like 9 months, right? This just I don't want to. Do I have the right to kill them because they're still violating my property rights if they would not move?
Just give birth at that point. Damn.
No, I didn't. Oh my God. I said if someone was on my property and they were not to move for 9 months, do I have the right? Why don't I have the right to kill them?
Why are you saying 9 months if we're not?
Because it's equivalent to like a fetus being.
I know. I just tried to use an argument of just give birth. I'm like, we're not talking about babies here.
If a person were to not move from my property, somewhat quick procedure, do I have the right to end their life because they are violating my property rights?
No, you call the police. You don't wait 9 months.
No, I'm not. No. If they were
you just said you wait. You just said 9 months.
Oh my God, you are being no. I said if someone. All right, let's address this again.
Okay.
If someone were to not remove themselves from my property, right, and I wanted them to move, right, do I have the right to kill them if they were to not?
Don't phrase it like that.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Let me give you this, right? Let's say someone is on my property. I don't want them on my property. They're gonna be there for 9 months, and only then can I remove them, or without them dying. Now, let's say
give birth.
Now, wait. Now, let's say 2 months go by, and I don't want. I decide I no longer want you inside my house. Should I now have the ability to remove you from my? Let's say there's a deadly storm outside, right? Should I be able to remove you from my house? So I won't be like using force against you. I'll just be removing you outside my house.
If it doesn't end in death, yes.
No, it will end in the fetus's death. I'm just not initiating force against
murder.
them. Wait, can you define murder?
We did like 10 minutes ago.
Well, no.
Okay.
Unwillingly ending someone's life without consent.
Okay,
so
so
Norman, can you look up the definition of murder for me?
Yeah. It's the premarital killing of someone. Premarital.
Exactly, that's without consent.
No,
unlawful premeditated killing of one human being by another.
A premeditated
Murder is an unlawful premeditated killing of one human being by another.
Okay. Do you think that the law is always moral?
No.
Okay, so if
So
the
you think-
classification, hold on, if the classification for something to be murder is the law, and you agree that the law is not inherently moral, then you can't also say that it's something being murder simply means that that can't be your sole reasoning for something.
When it comes to murder, yeah, not killing people, that's pretty cut and dry. It's not moral to kill someone.
Literally, you're conflating the definition of murder with killing, right? So murder,
It's the same thing.
No, it's
we
not.
literally just said the
If
definition.
you're killing someone, you're murdering someone.
Okay, hold
murder
on. Let me
from the
read
Google
out the
definition.
definition of murder to you. The
The-
unlawful, premeditated killing of one human being by another, right?
So
So
this outlines law.
Norman, I let you speak. So
Who am I
for
talking
something,
to, by the way?
spec. So
Oh,
for
okay.
something to be murder, it must be unlawful, right?
Yep.
Okay. And you agree that the law is not always wrong, or the law is not always right.
Yeah, abortion should be
So
illegal.
so the law can be wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So murder is not always wrong.
Murder, the belief that it's wrong is a social construct because you can't unwillingly end someone's life. And when you put it into law, they put it into law because there has to be consequences. When you're born, when you're 2 years old, you can't just kill your little brother. It's just, it's biology that you don't do that.
That's not what. Firstly, that's not what biology is. Secondly, this isn't even addressing my point,
It is.
right?
No, how is it?
What? Norman,
Because
one second.
You can be a
wait.
2-year-old.
Premise one, right? For something to be murder, it must be unlawful. Premise two, the law can be wrong. The law can be
I don't think
immoral.
you really understand the concept, what they're talking about being unlawful.
It's the
okay. Then let's look up the definition of unlawful. Definition.
He's basically
Not
just
lawful, illegal.
At least give me your opinion. Do you think abortion should be illegal? Yes or no?
Depends how you define abortion.
Killing a baby inside the womb.
Not your subjective view of abortion, like
Okay, fine.
Actual...
Ripping the arms and legs off of a fetus inside the womb.
I'll look up the
better?
definition on my own.
That's
the deliberate termination of a human pregnancy, most often performed. Yeah, I would say I'm opposed to abortion, but I'm not opposed to eviction, so that's where we're gonna
That's the same thing.
We're not opposed to define eviction.
Okay, you're saying eviction, so that means getting rid of.
Removing in the gentlest manner possible.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why it's not realistic for abortion. It can be sure for other things, but it's not for abortion. Hold on. It's not realistic for abortion because there is no way to proceed with an abortion without killing them.
That's not what gentlest manner possible means.
Murder. That's it.
I literally don't care about these appeals to emotion.
It's
like you can call it murder,
emotion.
Okay, and firstly, it's not murder, like by definition. But even if I'm to accept, that, okay, and
what?
Now what? Okay, abortion's murder. Okay, and
it should be illegal.
Well, no, that's not what murder is, but sure, you can make the claim that it's illegal.
Murder.
Wait, no, I said it wasn't murder, but even if I'm to operate under the premise that it is, okay, and
make it illegal.
Why? That's
because murder is illegal.
That's why we are having argumentation on
this. Oh my god, that's not what murder depicts. Murder does not depict something that ought to be illegal. It depicts something that already is illegal.
Exactly. It should.
We're not talking about ought claims. We're talking about is claims.
You're
so confused.
Okay. We are not discussing how things ought to be. We are discussing how things are. In the current state of American politics, abortion is legal.
And that's wrong. And you said
Okay. Right. I'm not making a normative claim, right? Abortion is legal, correct? We can all agree on that, right?
In some places, yeah.
Okay, sure.
Whatever.
And the majority. Yeah, I don't really care about that. In the
I mean, it makes a point because
sure.
as a whole, it's not illegal. It's
Okay.
not legal.
Sure. In the majority of the U.S., abortion is legal, right?
Legal. Yes.
Yep. Because we have too many whores in the United States who can't keep their legs.
Oh my God.
Close.
Okay.
It's
Sure.
literally not even sufficient reasoning, but whatever. Okay. Premise 2. Okay. Murder is defined as something unlawful. So in order for something to be murder, it must be illegal, right?
Yeah.
And abortion isn't illegal in the majority of the
Murder
U.S.
is legal.
No, it isn't.
Bro, what? That's
Murder
literally.
is
Murder by
illegal.
Yes, that is the whole point. For something to be considered murder, it must
It
first
has-
be considered. It must
Okay,
first be
hold on,
illegal.
hold
It
on.
must be illegal. Murder must be illegal. And since abortion isn't illegal, it isn't murder. It doesn't
It's-
line up.
Okay, here. Oh boy. What is a life? What makes something a life?
We're
What does
not
this have to do
arguing-
with anything?
No,
We're talking about the law.
I
Listen.
answered all your questions. You can answer one of mine.
Life. Well,
That's a
What
red
makes a-
herring.
it's a
Huh?
red herring
It's a
fallacy.
red herring.
What are you talking about? Red
It's
herring?
irrelevant.
It's
No,
irrelevant.
it's not. I answered all of your questions. You can answer
I-
one of
yeah, it
mine.
doesn't matter.
Well,
It doesn't
okay.
mean-
We do not use personhood as an argument or not. We don't care if it is a life or not. It is this. We do not use it
I'm
as
not
an
talking
argument. So you're not
about
addressing
personhood. I'm
anything.
saying what makes a life. It's a heartbeat.
It doesn't.
Heartbeat,
No.
nerves.
No.
No.
Yeah.
do you
Then
think
what
the
makes
fetus
what
isn't
makes a life?
Wait, do you think the fetus isn't alive before
Okay,
it has
is
a heartbeat?
bacteria
Wait, is bacteria life? Would you consider bacteria life?
Yeah.
Okay, then but bacteria doesn't have a heartbeat. So why is heartbeat a principle that you use to outline life?
Wait.
It's the human
Wait.
principle for life.
Okay, 1 second. Do you think the fetus isn't alive before it has its heartbeat?
What?
Do you think the fetus is alive before the heartbeat?
It's a. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't have a heartbeat,
Correct.
but it's still alive.
Okay, then your definition of it's alive because it has a heartbeat doesn't work.
I'm just saying that's the most simple definition possible
it's an
when it comes to
inconsistent
life
definition.
for humans. Then like I said, what's your definition of life? I've asked
Something
you. None of you have
alive.
answered it.
Something that can act. So I would say life is just something that it has.
Well, life is more so like a biological term, and the scientific consensus is that
Well,
life begins at
what makes
conception.
something alive?
I don't really care. I just use the scientific consensus.
No, I've answered so many of your questions. You can answer one of mine instead of
Yeah,
just
no,
saying
I'm telling you my
Well-
answer. My answer is I don't care. I just use the scientific
Okay.
consensus.
Then
What
what
we're
is
trying
it?
to say, what we are trying to
Conception.
say
Is
The
that
beginning
it
of conception.
doesn't matter if it is alive or not. It is irrelevant to our stance on
Yeah,
abortion.
we operate under
not.
the premise. We operate
Maybe
under the
in
premise.
yours it is, but not
Wait.
mine.
We operate
Yeah,
under the premise
but
that the
you can't
fetus is a life and
Yeah.
that it deserves moral consideration and it has rights. Yeah,
So you're
yeah.
saying that bacteria on Mars has more of a right than a baby in the womb?
no, we are not making that comparison.
Bro,
That's what
bro.
everyone else is comparing.
Who's
No, we're
everyone
not.
else?
We're-
No, we never. I literally explicitly just said we operate under the premise that the fetus is a rights-bearing individual.
Once
Also,
again,
bacteria doesn't have rights.
what makes a life? What makes something
Doesn't
alive?
matter. We agree
Yes,
here.
it does.
It doesn't. Okay.
We
one-
literally
I'm
agree.
asking-
Okay.
You've had me define
What are we-
so
okay,
many
can I
things
interrupt?
that I didn't want to, yet I still
Sure,
did.
sure.
So
I'll get you a definition of life.
Okay. What makes a life?
Paige.
The
Paige,
condition that distinguishes animals and plants from inorganic matter, including the capacity for growth, reproduction, functional activity, and continual change preceding death.
Functional activity. Like
Correct.
heartbeat, nerves.
The capacity for it, not.
the capacity for it.
And when
not-
I say capacity, I'm talking about a potentiality, not a current capacity.
Exactly.
What
When
are you?
you-
What point are you making? We agree with you. The fetus is
Okay.
alive. Okay.
Then why are you okay with killing it?
Because it's infringing on the mother's property rights.
It's not their property. It's not their body.
Okay.
Oh my God, we're not positing that the mother owns the fetus, except that she kind of does. But that's a whole other thing.
It doesn't. It's not their.
How do you,
You're not making
wait,
that point. It doesn't matter.
really?
Okay.
Really?
All right.
How do we
Hey.
come to own things?
Paige.
All right, Paige.
Yep.
Is the fetus a separate entity?
Yes.
I agree.
Okay.
Should I be forced to provide for someone without consent? Should I be coerced into providing services for another person without should I be coerced into providing services for another person?
No.
Then why should the mother be coerced to provide for services to a fetus?
Because they
Here-
weren't coerced.
okay,
They
let
lay
me
down in
explain
bed and they
something. Let
had
me explain
sex.
something.
One,
You
You are going
learn
to
sex results in a baby
logically
in 5th
contradict
grade.
you are going to logically contradict yourself or agree with me.
It's not contradiction.
Yes, it is. Because if you're not applying the same logic to a mother and a fetus, then you are being logically inconsistent.
Okay, and
You just said what was the word? You didn't say unwilling. They didn't consent or something.
Well, why should the mother be coerced if
They weren't
if
coerced. That's the thing.
Yes, they are coerced. If under your
No, they
ideal
aren't, Norman.
framework,
They're not coerced. They were coerced if they were raped or something resulted in incest, but they knew exactly what happened if they laid down and had sex. It's that simple. You learn this in
Consent to
5th
sex.
grade.
Consent to
sex isn't consent to pregnancy.
Yeah,
That's like
it is.
No,
So
Because you know
consenting
what
to
happens
driving.
when you have
So
sex.
It literally doesn't matter. Knowledge of consequences does not equal consent to it, right? Like,
Yeah,
let's say,
it does.
really, it does. Okay. So let's say someone
God,
goes
oh my
out wearing something, and they know that if they wear this, they have a higher chance of getting raped, and they get raped. Did they consent to that?
That's stupid. I really don't understand that argument.
If they understand the risks of them like going
Your
out.
outfit doesn't weigh in a factor of getting raped. It doesn't.
Okay,
That
wait,
argument-
assume for this scenario that it does.
No, I made multiple scenarios, and you said they didn't make any sense. So I'm not.
No,
gonna
I
assume
haven't.
the
I haven't appealed to
scenario.
absurdity. I've
Yes,
either
you will.
demonstrated why they're logically inconsistent or why they're just blatantly wrong.
You compared a car crash to murder, and that
No,
made
I didn't. I
absolutely
wasn't
no
even the
sense,
one that
but I
made that
went on with it.
analogy. You're not even like arguing against the a scenario I've posited. You just said, well, remember when you said this? When it doesn't
No, I
actually
didn't
contradict
say
anything
that.
I said.
I didn't say that.
Okay,
You
well
can
then,
go back on
address
your tapes and you
address
can
my
look.
thought experiment.
And I made mine, and you refused to go with it.
But Norman responded to it. I posited my own thought experiment.
I'm gonna be honest. I can't differentiate the two of you. I didn't know two people were talking until about 5 minutes ago.
Okay. So let's say you heard my thought experiment, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just because that person knows the risk of leaving their house, does that
Mhm.
mean that they consented to being raped?
How on earth does that make any sense? What you just said?
Because you said that them knowing what would happen, or them knowing the risk of what would happen, means that they consented to it. So I posit a logical parallel where this
I'm gonna
person
give you.
knows
I'm
the
gonna
risks.
give you the chance to really think through what you just said and tell me that made any sense.
I'm gonna give you a chance to respond with an actually logically coherent rebuttal instead of just telling me
You
to think
can't
about it.
refute saying, "Oh, they drove in a car, so they could." That makes
wait.
no sense.
You're appealing to absurdity. Can you give
I
like an
would
actual
say going
critique?
in your car is saying you can get raped is absurdity.
Okay, warrant that.
What?
Warrant.
You
Okay.
how do you warrant that?
Okay. Did you not hear my thought experiment? Okay. Someone leaves their house dressed in a way, and they know that because they are dressed this way, there's a higher chance of them being raped, and they go outside and they get raped. Did they consent to this action? The answer is no. The answer is no. They didn't.
It's because there's a possibility of an
No,
action.
it's not even about there being a possibility because she said that it was you knowing of the possibility of these consequences. So I posited a thought experiment where this
Oh,
person
yeah.
did know the possibility of the they did know the possibility of the consequences. Does that mean they consented to the consequences?
No,
No,
of course.
obviously not.
It's like, yeah, it's like the same analogy I made earlier with the driving, but just like, just because I know the consequences that could possibly happen doesn't mean I consent to them. Because I don't have control over what happens if it wasn't my fault. Um, so wait, is he talking? Hello?
Voices don't stop.
Wait, is Paige here, or is she just like not talking?
The vo- the voices don't stop. The voices don't stop. The voices don't stop. So yeah, do you guys want to join Oliver's Zoom?
Oliver, as in
Agorist
Ollie?
Ollie?
Yeah, he's based. I'm joining.
That's not. Uh, no.
I'll join it. I like Ollie. Ollie's a cool guy.